I have something to tell you. Guess what? It's that time of the, well, not year. We don't do it every year. But it's that time where we do a relationship series again. Yeah! We do this every few years because guess what? You guys need to have a right kind of perspective on what a godly and healthy relationship is, because there's not a good lot of good, examples out there in modern day culture of what a good, healthy, Christian, godly, all those words, relationship is. So we're going to tell you about it. And I say relationship series, I don't say sex series. Yes, we will be talking about, sex and what God's intentions are for sex. Spoiler alert, it's marriage and with the future husband and wife, and nowhere else. That spoiler alert is what, sex is for. But bigger picture is relationships, because that is what all of this stuff is built on. Relationships. And guess what? Every single one of you is in a relationship right now. What? Wow. Yes, you are in a relationship with your mom. You're in a relationship with your dad. You're in a relationship with me, with Emily, with Jimmo. You are in a relationship with a whole lot of people. And every single one of your friends, teachers, teammates, yourself, God, you are in a relationship with all of those people. And so today we're going to look at a few things that cover, all those relationships. And so over the next few weeks, we're going to get a little bit more specific as we go on. Next week, we're going to break out into a boys group and a girls group. And then the week after that, we're going to do boys, girls, and age, and it's going to be a whole thing. But this week, all the things I talk about can apply to every single relationship that you are in. And they're going to make them a lot healthier of a relationship. So today we're going to talk about and look at some things that are super, super important in all of your relationships. Because whether it's a relationship with your mom or with your girlfriend, whether it's a relationship with your teammate or with God, there are some things that are absolutely necessary for it to be a healthy relationship. I say healthy here, and that's what this whole series is about, healthy relationships, because it's really easy to just have any old relationship. Any old schmuck off the road can have an unhealthy relationship. It's super easy to have an unhealthy relationship. And there is a difference between a healthy relationship and a close relationship, too. You can have an unhealthy relationship with someone you're really close to, and you can have a pretty healthy relationship with somebody that you're not really that, close with. You hardly know. That being said, I have a diagram for you. See, it's a very complex diagram. On this side, you have unhealthy, and on this side, you have healthy. And on the bottom, you have distant, and on the top, you have close. See, diagrams. So, you probably have a pretty close relationship with your best friend. I'd say you probably have a close relationship with your best friend, and you probably have a little bit more distant of a relationship with, the lunch lady. Just a guess, you might have a really close relationship with the lunch lady, but I don't know that. And I'm probably somewhere in the middle of those two relationships. I hope that I'm like right below best friend. That's where I expect to be for all of you, is like your best friend and then me, right? Cool. And so that's pretty easy to understand how close you are, that kind of scale. The other scale, that's where it gets a little bit more complicated, a little bit more confusing. What does it mean to have a healthy relationship versus an unhealthy relationship? You might have an unhealthy relationship with the person on the other side of the Xbox who calls your mom very not nice things. You probably have a very unhealthy relationship with that person. You might have an unhealthy relationship with the teacher that gets mad at you for literally no reason. It doesn't make any sense. So you might have an unhealthy relationship with them. You might have an unhealthy relationship with yourself. You might have an unhealthy relationship with yourself because that person, looks at you in a way that's not healthy. That person picks out your worst features and all that fun stuff. So you might have an unhealthy relationship with them. Healthy relationships, you might have a healthy relationship with God, or with a mentor, or a coach, or hopefully you have a healthy relationship with me. At least I hope so. somebody who is honest with you and cares about you and wants the best for you. And we'll define healthy, this whole talk, a little bit more in just a second. But before that, I have a quick game. Wow, yeah, games. With candy as prizes. I didn't bring it up here, so I'm just going to have Graham throw it at you instead. But I'm going to describe a relationship, and then you're going to tell me whether the person is close or distant, and if that relationship is healthy or unhealthy. Understand? So I'm going to say relationship, you're going to raise your hand, I'm going to point at you, you're going to say close or distant, healthy or unhealthy, and then Graham's going to throw some candy. Got it? Cool. First relationship. It's me. I'm in this relationship. Wow. So I'm in my car, Enrique, he's a Ford Fiesta, it's really cool. And we're driving down the highway, and it's a Ford Fiesta hatchback, black, it's really, really cool. So driving down the highway, there's a semi-truck, and I'm, passing it at very slightly above the speed limit. It's fine. It's whatever. Geez, stop judging me. So I'm passing this semi-truck, and this big old lifted truck with, like, I don't know what all those words are, but it's big, it's loud, it's rude, and it zips up right behind me. It's a foot behind the back of my car, and they're like honking at me, they're flashing their lights at me, and I don't like this. I don't take this well. So I slow down, just to stick to them. And so I'm slowing down, they're honking even more, they're flashing their lights even more, and finally I get tired of it and I just pass the semi-truck, and the big old lifted truck pulls up beside me, yells at me, gives me a nice hand gesture, and I just smile. What kind of relationship do he and I have? Is it close or distant? Is it healthy or unhealthy? I saw your hand first, Harper. Distant and unhealthy. Good job. Alright, so okay, we get it a little bit so far. I got two more examples. Okay, you gotta raise your hand quick, okay? So there's a group of friends. There's a group of friends. They're a bunch of girls. Already unhealthy, you. So, a group of girls, one of them has a boyfriend. That boyfriend texts one of the girls that's not her boyfriend, that's not his girlfriend, and that boy says something a little bit flirty. And the girl texts back the guy who's her best friend's boyfriend, and she says something flirty back and doesn't tell her best friend. What's the relationship? Close and unhealthy. Baboom! All right, last one. All right, there are two brothers. Okay, one of them is in high school. One of them is in college in a different town. The younger brother had a girlfriend, but then she broke up. And he is very heartbroken, and he is very embarrassed to talk to his friends about this, embarrassed to talk to his parents about this, so he texts his brother. His brother is planning on going to a basketball game with his friends, but instead, he drives home to hang out with his little brother. What relationship? I saw you. Close and healthy. Good job. Okay, so we kind of get it now, I feel, a little bit. You can be close without being healthy relationship. You can be distant without being, and be a close relationship. We kind of get that a little bit. So in this series, we're going to define what healthy really, really means and how to have a healthy relationship. Because I don't just want you to have a healthy relationship with your future husband or wife. I don't just want that. I don't just want you to have a healthy relationship with your friends and your family. I don't just want you to have a healthy relationship with God. I want you to have a healthy relationship with every single person in your life. Every single person in your life. I know, not going to happen, we say. It's hard. It's really hard. So, how can you have a healthy relationship with every single person in your life? All of them. Well, there are some basic biblical truths that can apply to every single relationship that you have. Every single one of them. And it is going to make your relationship with that person healthier. And that's a big claim. There are just a few biblical, magical, wonderful, amazing truths in the Bible that can make every single one of your relationships healthier. So what are these magical, wondrous, amazing truths? Well, first one is respect. Respect, R-E-S-P-E-C-T. So, do you respect the person that you are in a relationship with? Do you respect them? Now, I had this teacher when I was in 10th grade, and a lot of my classmates, they did not like this teacher. One thing that they said a whole lot was like, oh, well, since she doesn't respect us, I don't have to respect her. And that kind of makes sense as a 10th grade student, and you're the student in the student-teacher relationship. I mean, they're the adults in the room. They're the one who's supposed to have it all together. They're the one who's, in charge of things. So if we don't like her, that's her fault. Right? Wrong. That's not what God says. That's not how God looks at it. We are supposed to treat people great. We're supposed to treat people the way that God treats them regardless of how they act. We're supposed to do our absolute best to treat them fairly, to treat them as God's creation, to treat them as a child of God, made especially after God's own image. If you were here on Saturday, a few of you guys were, Jason talked about this a whole lot, how God designed us to be perfect and wonderful just the way that we are. And that goes for ourselves, and that goes for everybody that we meet. God intended them to be perfect and wonderful the way they are, how God built us. Jason said, God don't make no joke. Talk about this in Genesis. He used Genesis 1:27 to say, so God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. So, when we don't respect God's children, when we don't respect God's perfect and wonderful and amazing creations, we are not respecting God. We are disrespecting God when we disrespect his children. And I mean, that goes for the math teacher that you don't like, and that goes for your parents, and that goes for the annoying kid that's way too loud, and that goes for yourself, and that goes for God. So, respect is absolutely essential, it's absolutely key for a relationship. Respect for a person's opinion, respect for another person's interests, and respect for a person's boundaries. That one's especially pertinent for those romantic relationships, respect for a person's boundaries. So, when you respect someone, that doesn't mean you automatically, instantly agree with everything they say or have to do everything that they want you to do. When you respect someone, that means you value them. That means you respect their decisions. You value their decisions. I mean, when I respect somebody on the road, I give them enough space to operate their vehicle safely. When I respect my friends, let's say studying for a test or something, I'm not throwing things at him constantly to distract him, because I respect him, because he wants to get a good grade on that test. And respect means, when you're in a romantic relationship, having those boundaries that you don't cross, because you respect their future too much. Because respect is about treating the other person not just as like an obstacle in the road for you to get around. Respect is not just treating people as a toy to abuse and play with. And respect is not just treating people as a slab of meat to make out with.
Yeah, that's right.
Respect is recognizing people as people and understanding that they are simultaneously and juxtapositionally both perfect, wonderful creations of God, and at the same time human beings who make mistakes. And in a healthy relationship, you understand that. And in a healthy relationship, you have that understanding for people, because respect is absolutely necessary. Secondly, another magical, special, wonderful biblical truth that you can apply to every single relationship that you're in is communication. Now, communication, letting other people know what's going on, how you're feeling, what's going on. Because guess what? I can't read minds. I assume you can't either, but I can't prove that. I can't read minds. I don't have telepathy. I'm sorry. You know what I do have? Words. But just like my last point, communication is absolutely key in every single relationship, whether it's a close relationship, whether it's with your best friend or your girlfriend or whoever, or whether it's a distant relationship. It's applicable for your friends, family, dating, teachers, me, God, yourself, everyone. And I keep going back to driving, in a car as an example. Because do you know how frustrated I get? And I'm in a car, like 2 cars are ahead of me, and then some guy just moves into the lane without using a blinker. I mean, the wheel's right here, the blinker's right here. It's really easy. Just use your blinker. I just want to know where you're going. And so if I can get that frustrated about some rando 2 cars ahead of me not using their blinkers, I can imagine how frustrating, my wife gets when I'm playing D&D with the boys, and it's been like 4 hours, and she's texted me 5 times, and I don't see any of those. I can imagine how frustrating it is to not get any communication from me when she needs to plan the rest of her day. It can be pretty frustrating, I'm sure. Communication is absolutely essential to a healthy relationship. And it's not just that you should communicate, it's also how you communicate. It's not just that you communicate, it's also how you communicate. Now, I don't know if you guys know the 18 different versions of okay, but the way you say okay can be very different. The words okay can be very different depending on how you say it. Now, I never go as far as just K period. I don't do that. I can't be that cruel to somebody. But I definitely have, my uppercase okay, my lowercase okay, my one of them uppercase, one of them lowercase. I have my thumbs up. I have the like a message. I have the tornado of thumbs when I'm really excited about something. And all of them mean something different. But I never go as far as just a K period. That's how you know you're in trouble. That's how you know that somebody's cold and doesn't want to deal with you. So it's not just that we communicate, it's how we communicate. Colossians 4:6, it says, "Let your conversations be always full of grace, seasoned with salt." It's one of my favorite verses because I just love salt. "Seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone." Full of grace is the real part of this that I want to pick out for you guys. Full of grace. Full of understanding, full of patience. When we speak to people, and by extension text people or Snapchat people or comment on people's Instagram posts, when we talk to people, we communicate, and we have to have understanding. Communicating with people lets them know what's going on up here, because up here for me it's just a tangled spaghetti mess, and it's hard, people can't read that. And it's not just communicating, my plans or ideas. It's also communicating emotions. Yeah, that's tough. I'm really bad at that because, as you all very well know, I'm a big, strong man who doesn't have emotions. I know. Thank you for that one laugh. Guess what? Even people like me, my feelings get hurt sometimes. I get upset by things. And also, I care about people. Guess what? You love your brother or sister. You love them. Tell them that. I have upset you by something I've done, by some weird joke or something at some point. I've upset you. Tell me that. Care about me. Communication in grace, make sure it's the in grace part, where you have the understanding. Communication in grace makes every single relationship healthier. Use your blinkers. I can't read your mind. My third and final magical, special, critical biblical truth is, wait for it, trust. Yeah. Trust. A relationship has to be built on trust. See, if you schedule coffee with me and then I don't show up, and then the next 5 times you schedule coffee with me, I don't show up, are you going to believe me when oh yeah, let's get coffee next week? No, of course you're not going to believe me. I proved to you 6 times that I am not gonna show up. Even if I say, no, I promise. I promise that I'm going to show up this time. I've not done it 6 times before, so why would I do it this time? Why would you believe me now? Why would that be true now? The friend who told you something in confidence, and now they're telling everyone at the school. Where's the trust there? You know, I'm driving down the road and I see a car swerving around and they almost hit a person on a bike, and they're just going all around, and I'm gonna stay back from them. I'm not gonna get near them. I'm not gonna get near that car because I'm afraid that car might hurt me. Conversely, I see a friend and they're swerving all around. They're talking smack about people, even if it's not me. They're taking advantage of other people's trust, even if it's not me. I'm going to stay away from that person because I'm afraid that they're going to hurt me. And no, that doesn't mean that we never trust people. And we're not always going to be able to blindly trust every person that we meet. People are people. People mess up. But there is someone you can trust. There is someone who it is our job to imitate. See, as much as your friends are always going to let you down, as much as your parents are going to let you down, as much as your teachers are going to let you down, as much as I am going to let you down, as much as you are going to let yourself down, God will never let you down. God will never let you down. You can trust God. God is trustworthy. 1 John 4:16-19 says, "And so we know and rely on the love God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. This is how love is made complete among us, so that we will have confidence on the day of judgment. In this world, we are like Jesus. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. We love because he loved us first." We love because he loved us first. Our relationship with God, it's built on perfect trust on his end. On his end, that trust is not broken, it is perfect. And what does it look like on our end? Can God rely on us to love him? Can God rely on us to be there for his children when his children need us? Can God rely on us to tell him the truth? Can God rely on us to even talk to him? In our other relationships, is there trust there? That is something that you can only answer for yourselves. Are you trustworthy? Are you a trustworthy friend? Are you a trustworthy son or daughter? Are you a trustworthy driver? If you're not, let me know. I definitely need to know that information if you're not a trustworthy driver, okay? But only you guys can answer that for yourself if you begin to think about, am I trustworthy or not? And only after you've answered that should you even begin to think about whether or not you make a trustworthy romantic partner or something. Because if you're not trustworthy in that kind of relationship, that's real hard. So, let's look at these 3 amazing biblical, wonderful truths. Are they a part of every single one of your relationships? Is there respect? Is there communication? Is there trust? So we're about to go into small groups, and I really, really, really want everyone to answer those questions about yourself. In what relationships do I respect people, and do they respect me? And in what relationships do I lack that respect? In what relationships am I really good at communicating? And in what relationships is it just nothing? No communication at all. In what relationships are you trustworthy? And in what relationships can you not be trusted to do anything? And before I pray, I want to tell you one more thing. God has every single one of those things for you. God respects you. God wants to communicate with you. God can be trusted. He is trustworthy. And it's up to us to try and imitate that. Let's pray. Dear God, thank you for being trustworthy. Thank you for respecting us. Thank you for communicating with us through prayer, through the Bible, through your people. God, help us to be like that. Be like that in our relationship with you, that you would help us respect you and communicate to you and be trustworthy, to do what you say. And help us to be like that in every single one of our relationships, whether it's somebody that we're best friends with or whether it's somebody that's just on the road with us. God, be with us as we go into small groups and we really look at these questions. We really think about, do we communicate with people? Are we trustworthy? Do we respect people? God, we love you so much. Thank you so much for being here with us. In your name, pray. Amen.